How's it going, everyone? I've been playing the new mid-chapter update pretty much non-stop since it came out, with about an equal mix of killer and survivor. Without a doubt, I will tell you the old survivor second chance meta is dead. It's just too easy for a killer to tunnel a survivor out now at any point during a match, regardless of the survivor's perks. That said, I did find great results while running a certain build, and I could see that in my solo queue matches we were escaping much more often when other survivors were running a similar build to me. Okay, so what is it? Well, first I'll show you the builds and then I'll explain why I'm so confident that this will become the new survivor meta, aka the genrush meta. And there's a lot of different versions of this you can run. I'll start by showing you the two versions of this I've been using the most while playing in solo queue. The first and more chill build starts with Prove Thyself. It's an absolute must now, and every team should have at least 2 survivors running this perk if they want to make it out alive. For every additional survivor working on a generator, it's repaired 15% faster, up to a maximum of 45% faster if 4 survivors are on one generator. Now keep in mind that there is a speed penalty the more survivors that are working on a gen at the same time, but regardless of the penalty, the difference in completion time is very substantial. The next perk I like to use is Overzealous. This is a Hattie perk that increases my gen repair speed by 8% for cleansing a Dole totem and 16% for cleansing a Hex totem until the next time I lose a health state. When you're repairing a gen with Prove Thyself and Overzealous together, it absolutely flies by.
Oh, nice, deepest.
For my third perk, I use Inner Healing, which allows me to heal in a locker in only 8 seconds regardless of any slowdowns like the mangled status effect, every time I cleanse a totem. So this synergizes very well with Overzealous since I'm breaking totems anyway. For my last perk, I use Small Game, and I'm 100% serious. It cuts out all of the wasted time searching for totems and allows you to keep gen repair and healing speeds maxed out throughout the entire match. This is a chill build with no items involved, so you can run this over and over again. That said, if you want to go with a bit more of a nuclear option, or if you're playing in a survive with friends, I'd highly recommend this build. Firstly, you need a strong toolbox with some beefy add-ons. Here I'm using the Commodious toolbox with wire spool and scraps for an additional 20 charges. My first perk is Streetwise, which is going to reduce the consumption rate of my item charges by 25% for me and my allies within an 8-meter range. This perk also stacks, so if multiple teammates use it together, it will reduce item consumption rates even more. For the second perk, you want to be using Built to Last, which is going to allow you to enter a locker and repair your depleted toolbox up to 99% of its charges. Every subsequent repair of the toolbox will reduce its total charges by 33%, plus it helps counter Franklin's demise, which is the biggest threat to this build. Believe it or not, for my third perk, I use Ace in the Hole, because it allows me to keep my add-ons for the toolbox when I escape, which makes it much more viable to keep using this build over and over again. For the last slot, I of course use Prove Thyself again, as it's second to none for gen rushing. So those are just my go-to builds for the beginning of this new meta. However, there are a lot of increased gen repair perks in the game, so for the remainder of the video I'll have those on the screen for you to look at and come up with your own builds. Alright, now you might be thinking, Choi, aren't these builds a bit dramatic? They only increase the gen repair speed by 10 seconds. Well, firstly, if you want to see something dramatic, go to r/Dead by Daylight, as it's a blazing inferno of crying and doomsday predictions. Okay, so the reason I strongly believe this is going to be the new meta is because survivors are basically at the mercy of killers now. Let me explain. Before, if you went up against a camping, tunneling killer, you had the tools to delay the killer long enough for your team to do the gens and get to the end game. Now you do not, and I promise you that if you as a survivor are playing against a killer who is having a rough start or even a bad chase that took too long somewhere in the match, that killer now knows they have the power to quickly get rid of a survivor at any point. So if survivors feel like they're going to lose every time they play against a killer who doesn't care about the survivor rulebook, they're going to opt for gen rushing builds because it gives them the most power and literally is the new best anti-tunnel and anti-camp in the game. You don't need Decisive Strike, Dead Hard, Iron Will, etc. if you can finish every generator before the killer can kill a survivor. So there you have it. I'm curious to see how all of this unfolds. I do think everyone needs to relax a bit, and as DBD has never had a meta shift this hard before, and it's going to take some time for everything to settle. Try not to get too salty, enjoy the positive aspects of the update, and as always, thank you so much for watching and have a good one.